Hello everybody, Tom McAllister and or something here, and today I'm back with a commentary video. I haven't done one of these in a while. Kind of miss doing these. Honestly, thank you, Albert. Very excited to be here and chatting with you again. So as you all know, Wesker, the mastermind, recently came out just today, and I managed to get in a match with him off stream that I wanted to go ahead and do a sort of commentary over. So what we're looking at here is a skill check build. Now, Wesker already has an incredibly large tear radius at base, 40, which when compared to other killers is significantly smaller than most other killers you're going to see by 8 meters or so, which may not sound like a lot, but when you really do the math and think about the trajectory of a 40 meter tear radius, it is incredibly large in comparison to the rest of the killers. So, with that being said, I decided to not only increase that tear radius using distressing, which increases the tear radius by 22%, and also gives me 100% more blood points for actions in the deviousness category. I also decided to use Overcharge, a doctor perk, which whenever we kick a gen, it gives an incredibly difficult skill check for the survivors to meet. And I think, let me read down here how they buffed it. After Overcharge is applied to a generator, its regression speed increases from 75% of the normal to 200% of the normal over the next 30 seconds. So if they don't get back to that gen after I overcharge it, it's going to be rather tough for them. But in order to make that overcharge skill check even more difficult, we have Unnerving Presence, a trapper perk, which survivors within your tear radius have a 10% greater chance of triggering skill checks when repairing or healing. Triggered skill checks success zones are reduced by 40%. And then finally, we have the Onryo perk, Merciless Storm. When a generator reaches 90% progress, survivors working on the generator will be faced with continuous skill checks. If they miss or stop repairing the generator, it's blocked by the entity for 20 seconds. Now this is great because it gives me info on what gens they have close to done near me, and it also lets me know that that gen has now been blocked, and I can go harass them away from it. As for the add-ons, I didn't really pay too much attention to this. I heard Loose Crank was good. Increases movement speed between the first and second virulent bounds by 8%, and decreases the time to recharge a virulent bound, I'm probably saying that word horribly, by the way, by 10%. And not only did I decide I want to be bitter with the skill check build, but on top of that, I decided to take them to one of the smallest maps in the game, and we went to Midwich. So we're going to look at that match now. I wanted to give you a layout of the build before we start, just so you're kind of informed on what's going on, and we're going to look at that match now. So thank you so much, and here we go. Alright, hi everyone, welcome back. As previously stated, this is taking place on Midwich Elementary School. I brought us here using an offering. I believe most of the other offerings were blood points. I believe there was a flan in there somewhere. I might be mistaken though. So as you can see, we have a Chris, a Carlos, a Jane, and a Yui. Now starting out on this map, one of the things I want to do is break all of the walls I know they're going to be able to take advantage of. So I go ahead and break that one starting out. The skill check build's already taken hold, because I'm guessing distressing covers most, if not all, of this map, given my 40 meter radius starting out, plus the 22% buff that I get from distressing. So I'm going to go check that one real quick. Now right there, I almost missed this dude right here. This is a really good hiding spot, and honestly, Carlos blends in pretty well with the darker backgrounds because of his black uniform. So if you watch right here, I almost miss it. It's sort of a glance as I'm right here. Just barely notice him as I'm passing by right here. Out of the corner of my eye, I see him. So we're going to give him a smack. He pretty much gives up on running away.
High performance in...
Might have been AFK, might have not known that we'd seen him, but I'm not going to just not go for a free down like that. Now, coming up here next, we're going to meet the Chris. Now, Chris is a big fan of head-on. Chris uses head-on constantly. Never uses it offensively, really, or defensively. He doesn't, like, knock anyone out of my grasp using it, but he just uses it primarily to annoy the fuck out of me. Now here, he pretty much immediately gives this loop up to me fairly quickly. No window spawn over here, which there can be occasionally. The window spawn is sort of random. Now here, he drops that pallet. I'm going to use my power to jump over it. Let's see what he does here afterwards. Sort of running out. Okay, yeah, so now he's going to mind game this pallet here. I'm just sort of acting like I'm committing, so he drops it. Watch him go back and forth here, except he doesn't. So we bloodlust there and pretty immediately get him. He pretty much turned this area into a dead zone when he ran away from that pallet. So it was either go down there or go down later. So I think he just chose to go down earlier. Now the Jane is working on this gen right behind us, and we can hear her continue to work on it after we've walked away. So we're going to go back and address that pretty immediately so we can use our overcharge. Merciless Storm just cut off that gen, so we don't have to worry about that anymore, but now we know that they're working on that one. Now I'm looking around for Jane here because I did hear her working on that gen, so I assumed she was still in the area. However, we end up finding Carlos here instead. So we use our power to pretty immediately grab him since he's already injured. We can insta-pick him up, put him on the hook here. Chris gets pulled off. Now, I've got 3 hooks before even one gen's done. So we've got a massive amount of pressure right now. We're not too concerned with them finishing that gen upstairs because honestly, we're down pretty good at this point. Carlos is already death hooked next time he gets off. You know, Chris can't help himself. We noticed Chris here. Jane's going to go ahead and protect her teammate here. I kind of go for Chris because, like I said, he is a head on Andy. I do want to try to deal with him where I can. Either head off the record or possibly a styptic agent. I'm not entirely sure. We'll look at the in-game screen and see. Now, grab the Jane here. We tried to avoid the Jane and actually grab the Chris, but we may as well get her while she's here. So we hit her. We're going to leave the Chris alone now. Because as much as we want to tunnel that Andy, we're not going to. Now, she drops this pallet here and I jump it. Now, this was not... The fact that she ran away made it work a little bit better for me. She could have looped me there for a while had she decided to stay at that pallet, but she didn't make that choice for whatever reason. So we go ahead and down her here. They tend to try to spin you at areas like this, so whenever you're falling down, just try to keep more of an eye on the survivor as they're falling to figure out what position they're going to land in whenever they hit the ground. Okay, so we're going to pick her up now. Throw her on this hook right here because convenient. I actually think I walked past this hook earlier when we were hooking to Carlos. So Carlos just vaccinated, and I know that now, so I'm going to go towards where I see his killer instinct coming from. And I think we run into him somewhere over here. I think he might be a hiding Andy again, actually, next time we see him, but we'll see. I don't know if he does it a second time. Oh, we saw someone right there. Now, I need to check something here, because I think I got horribly baited here, right? Let me see. Who is this? Okay, it looks like the Chris, I want to say. Now, what Chris probably did, he's probably directly to my left here, but just out of my vision. So I checked the lockers here because Chris did head on us before. But I think he quite literally snuck out the moment I checked this locker. So I checked both those lockers, make myself look like a fool. I'm just skipping ahead here. And then we find... Carlos did hide in a corner a second time. It's an interesting tech. It is viable. If done right.
You actually think you could defeat me?
You got to keep in mind the fact that he's done it before, and I know that he's done it before. So this Yui kind of wants to bait us here. We go ahead and give her a smack, so she'll leave us alone, hopefully. Carlos is dead. Carlos is death hook. I think this Yui's trying to save him, which is perfectly understandable in the context of this match. Oop, and I miss. And I'm walking away now, because pursuing that's worthless to me. If I had Agi or Iron Grasp, I might be able to commit to it. But I just wanted to get Carlos out of here. Now we grab the Yui, instantly get her. It's sort of inconsistent. Like, that didn't count as a full-on, like, impact for some reason. Yet, for whatever reason, it registers her as going down. Because you throw them if they don't hit something. And then if they hit something, they go down injured. But if you slam into something, you immediately put them on your shoulder if they're injured. So it's a little confusing. I think that it's just not working properly. Wesker is kind of bugged right now. Sometimes his power works, sometimes it doesn't. Luckily in this match, I mostly got it to work. So just something to consider, to keep in mind. Okay. So now we know Andy, they're working on a gen out of here. We overcharge it. We grab the Ewing. We're going to hook her.
Dead.
Now up here, I'm going to give you a tip for playing Survivor that I think a lot of survivors need to learn, but it's a little bit of humility, and I'm not sure they can handle that. And I say that as someone who plays Survivor. So he head on to me here again. This distance is crazy to me, by the way. Maybe it's just the perception of the character, but this head-on seems kind of wild to me. Now anyways, we're going to chase Chris because we know he's going to go for the unhook. We've already recovered from that one. Stab him. Now, look how we try to walk past the Yui here. She's going to body block us. So I'm like, okay, I'll give you the smack. But not only am I going to give you the smack, I'm going to tunnel you too. Now that you wasted my time. The simple fact of the matter is, if the killer has to go out of their way to make you leave them alone whenever they're trying to chase someone, I think it's worth it to tunnel you at that point. Because I've already put forth the effort to give you the smack. I may as well go in for the kill, right? So keep that in mind when you're trying to take body blocks off hook. It's probably more danger for you than it is for the person that the killer might be pursuing. So even if you take the smack, I might still go after you anyways. Merciless Storm once again blocking the gen out there. So even if you take the smack, I'm still going to go for you after you've done so. So it's kind of a waste of time on your part a lot of the time. Now if a killer is like just straight tunneling you, then yeah, go ahead and, you know, take the hit for your teammate. You may as well. There's no reason not to. But yeah, I don't like to tunnel, really. I only do it whenever I feel like I absolutely have to. And people be like, oh, you never absolutely have to. Shut up. Yes, you do. And on top of that, I don't understand why this Chris drops down here, but he does. So we go ahead and give him an insta smack because free hit, to be quite honest. This Chris does have quick and quiet on top of his head on, and he uses it frequently. No window in this room for him though, so unlucky there on that that spot. We just barely miss him there. Very, very close call for both of us. Now, I sort of got a little anxious about the hooks in this area, which you're going to see here in a second. I go ahead and put the Chris down, grab him. Looking around, I'm like, holy fuck, all these hooks are really far away. Now, I could have carried him to either that upstairs one or the one on the left side here, but I just choose to drop him instead. Because, once again, I have the knowledge that they're working on stuff. I want to go deal with that immediately. There I was checking to see if they put in the offering for the petrified oak to separate the hooks further. They did not, by the way. Okay, so this Yui should have committed here, honestly. This Yui really should have committed to the window back there. Because now she's in a bad spot because... Okay, let me break this wall down. I don't know if she has a pallet in here. She does. Okay, she does have a pallet in here, but she chooses to bait this window. Okay, let me teach you something about baiting this window here real quick. So you can vault it a number of times before it blocks it. But once I have this wall down, I have visuals of where you are. So I look in the room. I see she's not running that far. She jumps through again. She commits way too hard to getting away from the window here to bait me out. And then all I have to do, see all this area I have over here? I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, but you see all this area to the right over here? This is a whole area where I can just cut her off if she chooses to go back for this window, and then there's no pallet in here. So this is a horrible way to use this window, which she finds out very quickly. So yeah, if you're going to bait that window, stick by the window, number one. And then number two, once you've got your numerous uses out of it, try to be on the side with the pallet in it, because that's the only way you're going to survive that chase and possibly buy yourself some more time. Especially in an area like this. Like, an area on this map is particularly tough as well, so just keep that in mind. Okay, they finished another gen. It's the second one this match. We're 10 minutes into it. Which, you know, on average, it's not that bad per se, but they also have 2 people dead, which is a problem for them. So I'm looking around the map now. I'm just trying to kind of survey where they're at. I overcharged that gen back there, so I'm sort of secure in believing that they're not going to go back for that one. Now here, I hear the sound of... This is why headphones are so important, by the way. I hear Chris moaning here, and I hear his footsteps, so I'm like, okay, he's in the area. Let me chase him down. So I'm looking around here. I'm looking at the bloodstains. I'm looking at the scratch marks to make sure I'm not accidentally chasing the Jane. Because I'll be honest with you, I have little interest in catching Jane. I want Chris. I want to kill Chris. I see his quick and quiet there. And not really because... The Jane has just been doing what she's supposed to. She's been working the gens this whole time. She protects her teammates when she needs to. She tries to here. Probably doesn't expect me to M1 so quickly, but I do. Alright, now we're going to try to mind game this piano here. And Chris, in good fashion, does run the loop pretty well here for a second. He runs out. I think he's going to be going for... I think he wanted to try for the window here. Oh, he baits me good here, actually. So he baits me there, baits out my virus, whatever, the bound. and I actually jumped through the window here. Really good play by the Chris. Really good play. Something I'll be keeping in mind is sort of baiting Wesker into vault locations whenever he tries to go for his bound. So thank you for that, Chris. Shouts out to you. Alright, so we're still chasing Chris at this point. He's going to go into the office here, which is mostly a dead zone for him, which is great for me. And we get him.
Disappoint me. Is that the best you've got?
I love Wesker's lines, by the way. Now here, I decide, alright, I am going to commit to this hook, and either I make it or I don't. And I don't really care if I do. I'm just going to keep on this Chris, because like I said, the Jane hasn't really bothered me all that much. I haven't really had to put up with her much. But I know this Chris likes to chase. I know this Chris wants to antagonize, and I know that Chris wants to play. So I'm letting the Jane kind of do her thing, and just going for the Chris for the most part. So we kick this gen. It's the only one we know that has any work on it. We're going to go check the other side of the map because we are like 4 gens in such a way that 3 of our gens are on the bottom and only 1 gen is on the top. So not a great setup for them here, especially if they're doing that top gen, because then that makes it significantly easy for me. Plus, that's a single person gen in there. So they really only have the option of these 2 gens unless they're going to have someone solo dolo it. So once again, I'm here. I see what's happening. I know he's going to take a borrowed time hit, so I let him. I think it's just better to get it out of the way instead of trying to wait it out. Now, once again, not committing to the Jane because I'm not bothered with her. I'm going to stick to Chris here because I know he's dead. And honestly, I just don't want him to get hatched. So he quick and quiets back down the stairs here, I think. No, he hard baited me. That was a good bait. I just completely misread the scratch marks. But yeah, we go in here. I'm sort of lost on where Chris is. These are walls that I should have broken really early in the match, by the way. These are like need to be broken walls. Now we've got the blood trails, we got the scratch marks. We're gonna follow those to see where they lead us, and then hopefully we find Chris at the end of it, which we will. And we also know that he's dropping pallets at this point too. Like he dropped God pallet here. Chris knows it's over for him, and he's just trying to buy the Jane as much time as he can. We're gonna use our bounty here to kind of traverse the map. Now, granted, it does slow you down at the end, but I think being able to traverse that much of a hallway in that short of a time is really helpful overall. So, now we're going after Chris still, following the scratch marks. Nothing too interesting here. He's fully infected, so if we hit him with our power, we instantly get him. However, I think, yeah, he goes for the window. I hear quick and quiet there, and I hear him moaning too. Now this is just a pallet that we have to bait out. We just kind of have to play around this, and then I'm just going to be safe and stick to the M1 here. Yeah. And now we're going to grab him, throw him up on the hook. Now, once again, far distance here, but you got to be ambitious sometimes. Assume that if they didn't use a Petrified Oak offering, you should be mostly safe anywhere to carry to the nearest hook. So keep that in mind. Now Chris dies here. We are going to take a look at everyone's build at the end of this, but I want to go ahead and let the rest of the match play out before we do that. So Jane does find Hatch here, and I'm just kind of looking around for it. She pretty much instantly finds it and the match ends. Appreciated Survivor who just ends the match, because I hate wasting my time here looking for Hatch just to discover the Survivor's been standing on it for 5 minutes. Okay. Yeah, just sort of looking over all the details here. And can we hurry it up, Tyler? Cool. Okay. Okay, so looking at the builds, I run Jane's build quite a lot. Minus the pharmacy, I usually replace that with something else. But the self-aware, I call it fixated still. Sprint burst, vigil. These are all good perks. These are all good perks, and I think they actually have a lot of synergy and work really well together. And it's what I prefer to run. So next up we have Chris. He ran Head On, Off the Record. That is, I think, Parental Guidance and Quick and Quiet. Now, Off the Record is a perk that I ran for a long while. It's usually what I run in place of Pharmacy, but I've been switching it out recently for other more helpful perks like Botany and Prove Thyself, so on and so forth. Off the Record is useful, but only useful if the killer is actually tunneling you, honestly. Like, if they wait out the borrowed time just to discover you have Off the Record, then it works really well for you. But in this situation, that didn't really happen. for the Chris. The Chris was going out of his way to come after me, actually, and I see now that he has an anti-hemorrhaging syringe as well. So that's interesting. Looking into it, Yui, not a lot of synergy going on in this build. It's sort of interesting. She's got Sprint Burst, Saboteur, and Breakout. Obviously, she was looking to... Oh, okay. So she was trying to use Breakout whenever I was trying to hook the Carlos for the last time. Kind of weird that she didn't sabo any hooks that I saw. I'm not sure why she didn't do... Probably because she took a hit too early. If she hadn't exposed herself to me so soon and saboed that hook as I was coming around the corner with the Carlos, probably would have had less issue. But interesting build by her as well. And then we get down here to Carlos, who I believe has Empathy. I think that's... it used to be called Camaraderie. I'm not sure what it's called now, but it's the one that pauses the hook timer. Sort of works like Reassurance, except it's for the person on the hook. Iron Will, which got nerfed to shit. Not sure why he's running it, but interesting. I haven't heard Carlos's voice line, so I don't know if he's a super quiet one or not. And then Borrowed Time, which, you know, standard. Yeah, you know, a pretty diverse set of builds here, honestly. None that are really super meta to me except for Jane's, and that's because I run that build frequently, so it's just meta to me. Now, the skill check build, this is me only testing it out once, so it's entirely possible that it's not that great of a build. But in this particular instance, I found it worked pretty well. I didn't have any direct slowdown, aside from Storm and Overcharge. But that's nothing that, like, insta does things for you, right? Merciless Storm, they have to fail the skill check. Overcharge, you have to kick the gen. I didn't have anything like Ruin or like Jolt on this build, which is something that I'm used to running. I run a lot of Jolt. But this build works really well. All these perks have great synergy with each other, and once again, Albert Wesker's Terror Radius is just absolutely insane. So it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend you try it out. Comment down below if you've ran this build before, or you've ran some variation of this build. Let me know how it went. And yeah, this was a lot of fun. I miss doing these commentary videos, and I look forward to doing another one. So thank you so much for watching this. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next one. So thank you so much, and goodbye. My bet save the best for last, Dex. And does he do it? Rather easily, he does do it.